What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Nio. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what's really influencing Nio, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. Currently, it is down 3.19%. 5.4 million shares being traded within the first 30 minutes of the trading day. 43.9 is the average. So today is going to be a relatively low volume day. And interesting point when it comes down to Nio. We are in the last week of Q2. So you are seeing a lot of institutions and ETFs rebalancing their portfolios. So a lot of growth stocks are getting abnormal amounts of volume. But when it comes down to Nio, not so much. So you're still not seeing that kind of presence from institutions willing to buy Nio. So still getting overlooked. This is one very unfortunate aspect when it comes to Nio. It's just nobody loves it. And it's kind of funny because I actually do really like the operations, and maybe it's just the geopolitical aspect of Nio. I think that's one of the biggest downfalls of it. And so, yeah, it's hopefully sooner rather than later, institutions will start to see value in Nio. But at the same time, I feel like Nio isn't really marketing themselves. So for instance, on TikTok, I see a lot of individuals, private individuals, doing videos on how Nio is superior and whatever else. But Nio, for the most part, has been not really putting out all that great of news. So for instance, looking here, SEC filings, there was a 6K that was submitted on June the 25th that was correlated with their annual shareholder meeting. And then aside from that, there was this that did come out on the 20th. My apologies on, I guess, the delay. I haven't done that much Nio videos over this last little bit, but this entity announced its partnership with Nio Insurance Broker, which I think is generally good. But is this a reason to buy or sell Nio? No. So it's kind of more categorized as fluff. And that's been one aspect of Nio that it's really struggled with, to put out substantial pieces of news. And so I think a lot of people have high expectations for Nio, and rightfully so, but at the same time, I feel like they need to market themselves a little bit better. Even for instance, looking over here to 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗧, I was kind of scouring the market just to see what people are talking about with Nio and stuff like that. And this came out an hour ago, and it says Tesla's Chinese rival Nio expands presence in Germany with new showroom amid EU tension tariffs. That is actually very, very good news. But why, for instance, isn't Nio putting out something along those lines? It's just that is substantial. Expansion is key. And I feel like just once again, Nio isn't really marketing themselves all that great. So I'm going to go over some of the things that you need to know and whatever else. But yeah, right now it's just kind of stuck in limbo a little bit. A lot of things influencing the whole EV market as a whole. But without further ado, let's get right to it. So shorts right now are increasing 494,000 shares. 14.47% of the free float is being shorted. That works out to be 188.39 million shares overall are being shorted. Utilization 80.88, and then cost of borrow average is 1.26%. The reason why I'm bringing this up is more for analysis. Definitely not saying that Nio is a squeeze play by any means, but as you can kind of see, they have really increased. So it was previously around 11.96%, and so shorts are starting to, I guess, smell blood when it comes to Nio on various different aspects, but one is also their technicals. So technicals in Nio's case isn't the best right now, but looking at options, 283,000 in calls, 205,000 in puts. But sentiment wise, majority of the options being done so far today are neutral, so people just collecting obviously premiums, part of their strategy. So 56% of all the options so far neutral, like I said. Of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above 450, possibly by next week. And then looking at puts, more of a consensus for it to be sub 450. So clearly a very strong pivot when it comes down to that. Even looking at the open interest, there's not that much optimism when it comes to Nio. And that's, once again, very resemblant based on just the volume and people physically getting into Nio. And when it comes to the technicals, let's pop over back over to 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗧. A lot of people really do like the Elliott Wave technicals. And so right now it does have a pivot of 505. So for as long as Nio is below that, then it is anticipated to get to that mid kind of $3 range, which is kind of crazy, but in reality, that's probably where I would be the next buyer. And so far, for those of you that have been really following my channel, and especially my Nio videos, that Elliott wave technicals have been eerily very, very accurate. So once again, something to kind of consider right now. And there hasn't been any recent analyst ratings. So last one was done 11 days ago, $5.50 price target. 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗪, who does have a 57% success rating. So that did cause Nio to have a nice temporary bump up in the stock price, because at the time it was like, I think, mid fours. So clearly 550 is a little bit more optimistic rather than anything. So this is kind of the breakdown for that. And the latest Morningstar report does show the fair market value for Nio is $7.70, and that's based on just the assets. So once again, you can kind of interpret this as Nio being a discount. And as I brought up, especially when comparing the PS ratio to a lot of the other EVs, Nio definitely is very, very discounted. The only other one that's further or more heavily discounted is Polestar. But yeah, they're kind of shitting the bed, pardon my French. But aside from all that, let's move on and looking at some of the strong support and resistance points. With it at $4.26, it is trading between this S3 and this S2. So right now the market's kind of categorizing Nio as problematic. And right now, any stock trading between this range is, again, like I said, just troubled, or they have something fundamentally wrong with it. I think in Nio's case, the only thing really wrong with it is just the geopolitical issues, it just being a Chinese company. It's very crappy to say that, because that should be occurring, but at the same time, with Trump, especially based on that whole debate that did happen, I think from the consensus is that he did win. That does insinuate that there might be more kind of trouble between the two entities. So we'll just have to wait and see. But $4.04 is going to be the next strong support at this stage in the game. And then $4.56 is going to be that next strong resistance / target that you'll want to watch for Nio to get above. I still have my positions, $4.38 and then $6.50 on my other account. So it kind of sucks. I wish it would have gone to at least $6.50. In one of my accounts, at least I'm doing like weekly options on it. So I'm getting kind of some additional premiums, but still, it's not really much to write home about. So like I said, once it does get, or if it does get to that 350 range, that's probably where I will be a buyer next. But I think right now, just Nio's trying to find its place all in all. So let me know your thoughts on Nio. On the actual chart, lower percentile of the Bollinger Band, stochastic, you do see as of today a bearish deviation, so red line above the white, very minor, but still it is there. It is also at 30, so arguably considered oversold. And looking at the momentum, shows number of retail investors have been getting in slowly. Today they haven't really been doing all that much, but it is essentially, the way I analyze this is anything below 0 does show that you're still losing retail investors. So more retail is selling rather than buying. And like, it's been a while since retail has actually been fully getting in, but yeah, it's a very unfortunate scenario for Nio, because like I said, I think just the marketing coming from private individuals who just create TikToks and whatever else, like, it shows Nio is a kick-ass vehicle. And I think a lot of us generally do know that Nio is very good operationally, just the market hates it. Plain as day. So let me know your thoughts on Nio. Give yourself a shout out if you have been buying, if you have been selling, what have you been doing with Nio? And one final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Kick-ass deal, link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.